There's nothing more spectacular in the NBA than one player catching fire and completely destroying their opponents with 40, 50, or 60 points. The greatest players in the game have done this plenty of times, and we picked their best ever performances. Here are the best career games of 10 NBA legends. Michael Jordan, Game 6, 1998 NBA Finals. Many games could qualify as the best game of Michael Jordan's career. There's the 69 points in the regular season against the Cavs, 63 he poured on Larry Bird and the Celtics in the 86 playoffs, or 55 he dropped against Barkley in the 93 finals. But the most memorable of all MJ's iconic games is the last time he suited up for the Chicago Bulls, in Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals. In a hard-fought series against the Jazz, Jordan made a crucial steal in the final minute of Game 6, with the Bulls down by 1. He ran down the court, crossed over Byron Russell, and then swished the mid-range jumper to give the Bulls a 1-point lead. After Stockton missed the last-second heave, the Bulls celebrated their 6th title, and Jordan walked out as the GOAT. He scored 45 in Game 6. He wasn't the most efficient and only had 1 assist and 1 rebound. Statistically, he had better games than this. But with the iconic game winner that was a cherry on top of a phenomenal career, this one was the most memorable game. When Jay-Z said, "Jordan Game 6" in a song, everybody knew which Game 6 he referred to. LeBron James, Game 6, 2012 Eastern Conference Finals. Before Game 6 of the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals, LeBron was looking down in the abyss of another playoff loss, which, if it happened, would be a last nail in the coffin for his legacy as the best player ever to play. Great players need titles to cement their legacies and climb the proverbial Mount Rushmore. 2 years after he left the Cavs and became the biggest villain in basketball, LeBron still hadn't won anything. Before Game 6 started, we saw a weird look on his face, the one we haven't seen before. LeBron wasn't smiling. He wasn't talking much. He just had a blank stare of pure determination mixed with desperation. When the game began, a man who was always known as a passer took the matter and the ball into his own hands. Shot after shot, LeBron was hitting everything. Pull-up jumpers, step-back jumpers, drives, putbacks, transition baskets. You name it, whatever LeBron tried, it went in. And he had hit 12 out of 14 shots in the first half, on the route to 30 points. In the second half, whenever the Celtics came close, LeBron showed up again and never let the win come to jeopardy. With his back against the wall, he dismantled the entire Celtics team filled with future Hall of Famers and changed the narrative of his career. LeBron finished the game with 45 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists. And if the game wasn't a blowout and he had played the entire fourth, he could have easily gone for 50 points and 20 rebounds, which would be the numbers we haven't seen since Wilt Chamberlain. Kobe Bryant, 81-point game. On January 22, 2006, Kobe Bryant entered the zone. I don't know if you've ever been in the zone or not, but if you did, you know it's a magical feeling where you are so focused on your task and you seemingly can do no wrong. Kobe got into the zone against the Raptors, and he knew that he must not disrupt it. He did not thump his chest. He did not trash talk. He just played with a 100% focus and continued to annihilate the Raptors on the way to 81 points in a game. He was the most skilled player in the league, and in 2006, he was in his physical prime, which made him into one of the most dangerous predators the NBA courts have ever seen. The beginning of the game didn't signal we were going to witness the second highest scoring output ever. Kobe did have 26 at the half, but it was the kind of numbers we grew accustomed to at that point. But the way he exploded for 55 in the second, that was historic. The man was absolutely unstoppable, and he looked like a grown man amongst children. Kobe gave everybody on the Raptors buckets, but poor Jalen Rose got the worst of it, and he is still ridiculed for it today. This smile of Kobe dropped 40 on you meme is definitely my favorite. Shaquille O'Neal, 61-point game. March 6, 2000 was the date of Shaq's 28th birthday, and he spent the majority of the day planning and organizing his birthday party. The Lakers played the Clippers that night, and because the Clippers were one of the worst teams in the league, Shaq didn't really prepare much for the game. The Lakers were supposed to make quick work of their inner-city little brother, and Shaq was supposed to ice his knees in the fourth, already thinking about the big fiesta that night. But the Clippers had other plans. They weren't going to go down easily. and they had a 5-point lead after the first quarter. Shaq had to turn on the Jets and concentrate on the game rather than the upcoming party. He was in the middle of his MVP season, in the best shape of his life, and there was nothing anyone on the Clippers could do to stop such a monster. Shaq started to go to work, and the Lakers kept feeding him the ball. He finished with 61 on 70% shooting, plus 23 big rebounds. Wilt Chamberlain, 100-point game. The night before he scored 100 points, Wilt Chamberlain spent the entire evening in a nightclub in New York, made love to a beautiful woman, and then took a morning train to Hershey, Pennsylvania, where his Sixers would play the Knicks in a small high school gym. It was classic Wilt. In the game itself, it was business as usual for Chamberlain. He dominated the league, and there was nobody in the world that could stop him, other than Bill Russell, who could only slow him down. Wilt was averaging 50 for the season, and he had 69 in 3 quarters against the Knicks' backup center Darrell Imhoff. The fans then started cheering, "Give it to Wilt," and the Sixers players obliged. Soon, the game turned into a farce because the Knicks started fouling everybody just so that Wilt doesn't get the ball. However, when the final whistle sounded off, Chamberlain etched his name in history with the highest scoring game ever. Wilt shot 36 for 63 from the field and 28 for 32 from the foul line. A remarkable feat for a man whose career free throw percentage barely eclipsed 50%. Magic Johnson, Game 6, 1980 NBA Finals. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was still in his prime and the best player in the NBA in 1980. Through the first 5 games of the NBA Finals against the Philadelphia 76ers, Kareem averaged 33 points, 14 rebounds, and almost 5 blocks per game, and his Lakers took a 3-2 lead in the series. Unfortunately for LA, Kareem severely sprained his ankle and was ruled out of Game 6. When the Lakers boarded the plane to Philly, the whole team had their head down, doubtful that they'll be able to replace the output of their best player. Magic Johnson noticed it, and being the great leader that he was, he sat in what was usually Kareem's seat. "Never fear, EJ's here," he said to his teammates, assuring them a victory in Game 6. Magic started at center for the injured Jabbar and took over the game from the start. He was hitting hook shots, jumpers, and was absolutely killing the Sixers in transition. Johnson finished the game with 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists, on the route to a dominant and unexpected 123-107 victory. He won the Finals MVP and started the biggest NBA dynasty of the 80s. Larry Bird, Game 6, 1986 NBA Finals. Larry Bird was at the pinnacle of his basketball brilliance in 1986. He won his 3rd MVP in a row, something only he and Bill Russell have accomplished. His Celtics dominated the NBA with 67 wins in the regular season, during which they only lost 1 home game, another NBA record. They would go on to the NBA Finals, where they played young Hakeem Olajuwon and the Houston Rockets. It was a close series through 5 games, but the Celtics absolutely stomped down on the Rockets in Game 6, leading the game by 30 points in the 4th quarter and resting their stars on the bench. Bird finished with a triple-double of 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists, and deservedly won the Finals MVP trophy. Larry had a lot of great games, but he himself said that this one was his best. So, we won't argue with the man. That was the only game I thought I was totally prepared for. As far as the focus was concerned, I had none better. Never. I should have quit basketball right there. Larry Bird. Allen Iverson, Game 1, 2001 NBA Finals. As a neutral fan, you had to cheer for Allen Iverson in the 2001 NBA Finals. You just had to. He was a 6'0" and 175 pounds of skin and bones, and he still dominated the game against the most dominating big men ever, and the heavily favored Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers swept the entire Western Conference in 2001, and had not lost a game going into Game 1 of the Finals, while the Sixers came off 2 series that went to Game 7. Nobody expected the Sixers to win Game 1 on the road, but one man could not be stopped that night. Allen Iverson was quicker than every guard on the Lakers, and even Kobe couldn't contain that small pest of a man who kept driving into the heart of the Lakers' defense time and time again. The game went to overtime, where Iverson scored one of the most disrespectful jumpers in NBA history and stepped over Lou, who had fallen down after AI's crossover. The Sixers stole Game 1, and Iverson stole the hearts of NBA fans around the world, with 48 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and 5 steals. It's still the 7th highest scoring game in the history of the NBA Finals. Bill Russell, Game 7, 1962 NBA Finals. In Game 7 of the 1962 Finals, Bill Russell secured a finals win with a dominant performance against Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, and their LA Lakers. Russell was clutch from the free throw line, going 14 for 17, and he finished with 30 points, a finals record 40 rebounds, and 4 assists in the 110-107 win. God knows how many blocks and deflections he had, but they weren't officially recorded until 1973. It was Russell's 5th title in 6 years he's been in the league, proving that he's the most clutch player in basketball of his era. Tim Duncan, Game 6, 2003 NBA Finals. Jordan says that his peak year was 1991. Wilt Chamberlain's was definitely the 50-point 1962 season. Tim Duncan peaked in 2003, his second MVP year. Duncan was still in his absolute physical prime, and he dominated as a mobile 250-pound 7-footer with a jumper. With a 7'5" wingspan, quick reflexes, and perfect footwork and positioning. He was equally good on the defensive end, which is perfectly highlighted in the finals clinching Game 6 of the 2003 NBA Finals. Duncan almost had a quadruple-double in an impressive all-around performance. Timmy scored 21 points, grabbed 20 boards, dished out 10 assists, and blocked 8 shots to win the game and his second NBA title.